Okay, so continuing with this, I've got the pins. I was going to cut the piping from the eagle's head, kind of this teardrop shape, with my eraser, which is pressure sensitive now. Something like that. That looks pretty good. You can turn off your guide with semicolon if you need to, and hold down Command to get to a selection tool. And all of these things can be refined later, but I'm just trying to build it now. I wanted some piping in the wings, but maybe, yeah, I do want it. So let me do that. And so I'm just unlocking and modifying these layers as I go. So the piping I wanted in the wings, again, pressure sensitive eraser. I'm not painting with white, I'm erasing. Starting thin. Going a little bit thicker. Something like that. That's pretty smooth for an eraser. Let me see if I can clean it up here in this transition. Okay, and then I can use the pencil tool, select the wing, use the smooth tool. I could redraw it if I wanted to. Use the smooth tool to kind of even it out, inside and outside. And if I wanted to taper more, the pencil tool is great for that. So I have it set on smooth. And I can taper it out to a sharpened edge and I redraw it as long as I go through an anchor point and end on an anchor point. Taper it here. And then with the small selection tool, I can always just move anchors slightly until I get what I want as well. So all very clean, all very understandable, all very nice. So once you can see your anchor points, there's lots of ways you can modify the path and work with it. Then I'm going to add on with my eraser, which basically works like the Blob brush tool, but in reverse. I'm going to add this piping down and through. I tried to make it as smooth as possible. Didn't quite work. Let me try it again. That's a little better. And now let me just taper it off. And the way I'm going to do that is just moving one anchor point. You have to hover over one anchor point to select it and just drag that down alone and then play with its curve. That's pretty nice. I can play with the exact placement of it this way. Okay, now that white space isn't actually white. It's a cutout from the black. And so to modify it, it's the negative space. I can use the pencil tool and shape the black around. So for instance, make this more of a curve. I'm liking that. Okay. So now I have a new wing to move over, so get to review that. I'm going to select the left wing here, copy it, Command-C, edit, paste it in place. I'm going to turn off my pre-existing right wing, and instead, Object, Transform, Reflect, Vertical at 90 degrees, flip it, use the large selection tool, whoops, and move it to the right. And if I hold down Shift, it should keep it in line as I'm moving it. There we are. Okay, save it. That's good. And erase the wing I'm not using anymore. Next thing gets a little bit difficult. It's all the stuff in the mask. But now I have a plan. I know what gets outlined and what doesn't. So instead of having to cut things out, I just work around them. So I'm going to use the Blob brush tool, go up to a new layer, and just do my best. And people who love Illustrator just love the fact that it smooths out their lines for them. It's kind of a nice, clean animator's line that it creates. But I really love the features they've added with the eraser, with the Blob brush tool, where you can use the pressure sensitivity of your tablet as well. Now this kind of oak leaf cloud pattern, which is suggesting my father's mustache, at least to me. The little patterns on the inside. Nice and smooth. I work them out of my marker test, so I kind of know what I'm going for. Because it's not as intuitive a tool as Photoshop, you do have to have a plan in order to use Illustrator effectively. Know what effects you're going for. And again, it's more about shape than detail for sure. I want to echo the nose plate there. Bring that in right here. And with this blob brush, it's just making it, it's like the reverse of the eraser. It's making it all one solid shape. So I can connect with an existing mark. Very nice. And thicken it out. Rework it until I'm happy. And because I'm going for smooth, I'm trying not to zoom out too much. So I don't want it just to be smooth. I want it to be pretty bold as well. So it works from a distance. And now I go to reverse, and I start filling in. It's like painting. Circle there. It's like a Morse code path of marks. There. Another circle. And round it out later. There we go. Now the other way I can do it is just fill it all in and then erase it out. There's lots of ways to get your result. The only problem with filling in big chunks with the blob brush is you might leave little gaps, which then have to be corrected. As long as you have a plan, it shouldn't be a problem. You know what belongs, you know what gets left out. And this is using the very cheapest, smallest type of tablet. It's all about just how much practice and how much sensitivity you can get from it. Have that smooth animator's line. Okay, now the inside. I know from my marker test I want this to be pretty thick, so I have lots of space around this cross on the inside. I'm even going to cut out a little hole. So like I said, I like the blob brush for digital inking. That's basically what I'm doing right now. Now, why did I have to do that marker test? Well, I didn't know if I was going to have this cross outlined or not. I didn't know if it was going to be a black cross on a white shield or this, and I decided to add some of these little dot features, break it up, make it look more like a shield, with grommets and bolts, like an iron cross. And this is what I consider detail work. Getting in there. Now I haven't used the shape tools at all, but let me show you those really quick. If I want perfect circles, I can go to the shape tools right here. And I can do the ellipse tool. If I want a perfect circle filled in with black, and hold down Shift, draw one. Use the arrow keys, position it exactly where I want it. Then I can copy and paste that. Copy, paste. Change that color to a white fill, which I've told you never to do, right? But I'll show you why. Move it into place. Copy that. Oops, I want the white one copied. Anyway, let me just show you really quickly with this. So now I have a white shape, and I'm also going to select the shape behind it by holding down Shift, using the small selection tool. So I have two overlapping shapes, one black, one white. Then I'm going to go to what's called the Pathfinder tool, Window Pathfinder, and I'm going to exclude one shape from the other. All right? And then I'm going to change that color to black. And what that does is the same thing as an eraser. It cut the hole out for me. So there's no white anymore in it. So that's one way you can get rid of